Maya adjusted the straps of the baby carrier as she stepped off the bus, holding her 2-month-old son, Liam, close to her chest. The wind was brisk that morning, cutting through the thin jacket she had thrifted weeks ago. Despite the chill, Maya hurried toward the county hospital, clutching a tattered diaper bag that held Liam's essentials, what little she could afford to pack. Life had been anything but kind lately. Maya had always prided herself on being resourceful, but single motherhood had proven to be an uphill battle. Though her parents had offered to help where they could, their own modest retirement income meant they couldn't do much financially. They did, however, help with Liam when Maya had to take on long shifts. On those days, she would drop Liam off at their small apartment before work, her heart aching each time she left him behind. Her parents adored Liam, doting on him with the same warmth they'd shown Maya growing up. But knowing that her parents were using what little they had to care for Liam, when she couldn't be there, only added to the pressure she felt to provide for her son on her own. Formula was the hardest expense to manage. It drained her already meager funds, but Liam's well-being came first. Always. Inside the hospital, the warm air greeted her like a small mercy. She walked to the pediatric reception desk, shifting Liam's weight on her shoulder. After checking in, Maya took a seat in the waiting area, bouncing her baby gently as other parents and children shuffled in and out. Liam stirred and whimpered, hungry again. She gave him the last bit of formula she had prepared that morning, knowing she didn't have any left for later. Her chest tightened with worry, but she masked it with a soft smile as she stroked his tiny head. "Maya," a voice called. She stood, hoisting the diaper bag and adjusting Liam in her arms. A woman in scrubs with warm brown eyes and a bright smile waved her over. "Hi, I'm Nurse Evelyn," she said, crouching slightly to peek at Liam. "And who's this handsome little man?" "This is Liam," Maya said softly, her voice tinged with both pride and exhaustion. "Well, Liam," Evelyn cooed, "let's get you and Mommy settled, okay?" Evelyn led them down the hallway to a cheerful exam room painted with colorful animals. Maya felt an odd sense of comfort in Evelyn's presence. She had been to the hospital before for Liam's vaccinations, but this was the first time a nurse had taken the time to really connect with her. As Maya settled Liam on the exam table, Evelyn began the routine health checks. She carefully measured Liam's weight and length, checked his temperature, and monitored his breathing. Maya watched nervously, her heart sinking when she saw Evelyn's slight frown as she jotted down notes on her clipboard. "Liam's weight is a little lower than we'd like for his age," Evelyn said gently, glancing at Maya. "But his development seems on track otherwise. Are you having any challenges with feeding?" Maya hesitated, her cheeks flushing. She looked down at her hands, wringing them nervously. I try to give him enough. But formula is expensive. I'm doing my best, but sometimes I have to stretch what I have." Evelyn's face softened. She set the clipboard aside and placed a reassuring hand on Maya's arm. "You're doing the best you can, and that's what matters. But Liam needs proper nutrition to thrive. Do you mind if I ask a few more questions about your situation?" Maya nodded hesitantly. Evelyn sat down beside her, her demeanor gentle and non-judgmental. She asked about Maya's work, her living situation, and her support system. Maya explained how she worked nights cleaning offices, how her parents helped watch Liam when she had long shifts, and how she often skipped meals herself to make ends meet. "They're amazing with him," Maya said softly, "but I hate relying on them too much. They already do so much for me." Evelyn listened intently, her eyes reflecting both compassion and concern. When Maya finished, Evelyn stood and walked over to a cabinet in the corner of the room. She rummaged for a moment before returning with a can of infant formula. "This is from our pantry," Evelyn said, holding it out to Maya. "We keep supplies on hand for families who need a little help. Please take it." Maya's eyes filled with tears. I can't take that. It feels wrong." Evelyn knelt to meet her gaze. "Maya, this isn't charity, it's just one mom helping another. I have 2 boys of my own, so I understand how hard this can be. Liam deserves the best start in life, and you deserve a little support." Maya stared at the can for a moment before finally accepting it, her hands trembling. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "You have no idea what this means to me." Evelyn smiled, her warmth lighting up the room. "You're stronger than you realize, Maya. If you need more, come back and let us know. We'll figure something out." As Maya left the hospital that day, she felt a glimmer of hope she hadn't felt in months. The can of formula in her bag wasn't just food for Liam, it was a reminder that she wasn't completely alone in her struggles. Evelyn's small act of kindness had shifted something deep within her. That night, as Liam slept peacefully in her arms, Maya sat beside him and thought about the nurse with the kind eyes. She promised herself that someday, when she was in a better place, she would pay this kindness forward. Though she didn't know how or when, she carried the thought with her like a quiet ember, something to keep her going when the days felt too heavy. 2 weeks had passed since that emotional hospital visit, but the memory of Nurse Evelyn's kindness lingered in Maya's mind. The can of formula had been a lifeline during those tough days, and Maya had stretched it as far as she could. Each time she scooped out a precise portion, she felt a deep sense of gratitude. Still, she knew it wouldn't last forever. Life remained a daily struggle. Maya worked long hours cleaning offices at night, often leaving Liam with her parents when her shifts stretched past midnight. Her mother, a retired teacher, would sing lullabies to Liam while her father, once a mechanic, bounced him on his knee, making him giggle. They adored their grandson, but Maya could see the exhaustion in their faces, the quiet sacrifices they made to support her. When the formula finally ran out, Maya hesitated. Pride tugged at her, making her second-guess returning to the hospital for more help. But then she thought of Liam's soft, hungry cries, the way he looked at her with trusting eyes. Her love for him outweighed her hesitation. He needed her to be strong, even if it meant swallowing her pride. The next morning, Maya bundled Liam up and made her way back to the hospital. Her heart pounded as she walked through the familiar doors of the pediatric ward. The receptionist greeted her warmly, and within minutes, Evelyn appeared, her bright smile lighting up the room. "Maya," Evelyn said, crouching to wave at Liam, who gurgled happily in response. "What a lovely surprise. How are you two doing?" Maya bit her lip, shifting on her feet. "We're okay. It's just, the formula you gave us was a huge help, but I'm out again. I wouldn't ask if I had any other option." Evelyn's expression softened, her eyes filled with understanding. "Maya, I told you, you're always welcome here. Wait right here for me." Evelyn disappeared for a moment and returned with another can of formula. She handed it to Maya without hesitation, her tone firm yet kind. "This is for Liam. And I want you to remember something: asking for help doesn't make you weak. It makes you a great parent. You're doing everything you can to give him the best, and that's what matters most." Maya nodded, her throat tightening with emotion. "Thank you," she whispered. As Evelyn gave her arm a reassuring squeeze, she added, "You're stronger than you think, Maya. Just don't forget to take care of yourself too." That comment lingered with Maya as she left the hospital, the can of formula tucked securely in her diaper bag. She realized that Evelyn was right, she wasn't taking care of herself. Between working late nights and worrying about Liam, she barely ate, rarely rested, and spent every waking moment thinking about how to make ends meet. She promised herself that things would change. Somehow, she would find a way to make life better for both herself and her son. Over the next few months, Maya began scouring job boards during Liam's nap times. Her parents continued to watch him when she worked, giving her moments of relief, but Maya wanted more than just relief, she wanted stability. She applied to every position she could find that offered better pay or more consistent hours, even though it often felt like shouting into the void. One evening, while her parents played with Liam in the living room, Maya opened an email that made her heart skip a beat. A local catering company was hiring a full-time staff member for cleaning, food prep, and deliveries. The hours were flexible, and the pay was better than her current job. She immediately scheduled an interview, feeling a spark of hope for the first time in months. A week later, Maya stood in the tiny break room of the catering company, signing her new employee paperwork. Her supervisor had praised her professionalism during the interview, and for the first time in a long time, Maya felt valued. Her first paycheck felt like a miracle. It wasn't enough to erase all her worries, but for the first time in years, she could afford fresh fruits and vegetables for herself and Liam. She even set aside a small amount in savings, a cushion for emergencies. One evening, as she folded laundry in her parents' apartment, Liam crawled toward her, clutching one of his toys. His cheeks were rosy, his eyes sparkling with health. Maya's heart swelled with gratitude. She knew she wouldn't have reached this point without Evelyn's kindness. The following week, Maya made a decision. She packed Liam's diaper bag, tucked a small bouquet of daisies inside, and returned to the hospital not because she needed more formula, but because she wanted to say thank you. Evelyn's face lit up when she saw them enter the pediatric ward. "Maya and Liam, look at how big you're getting, little man." Maya handed Evelyn the flowers, her voice steady but full of emotion. "I just wanted to thank you properly this time. You helped me when I needed it the most. Because of you, I could keep going, and now I have a new job that pays more. I'm finally starting to get back on my feet." Evelyn accepted the flowers, visibly touched. "You didn't have to do this, Maya, but thank you. I'm so proud of you. And look at Liam, he's thriving." Liam gurgled happily as if in agreement, and Evelyn chuckled. "That's what I wanted," Maya said softly, her eyes meeting Evelyn's. "For him to thrive. And because of you, he is." As Maya left the hospital that day, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was building a future. And Evelyn's small act of kindness would always be the foundation of her strength. The months that followed brought steady progress for Maya, but the path was anything but easy. Her new job at the catering company was a blessing, but it demanded a level of stamina she hadn't needed before. Days were long, and evenings bled into nights as she juggled Liam's care, work responsibilities, and the constant tug of exhaustion that never seemed to leave her. Maya rose before dawn most mornings, preparing breakfast for Liam and packing his bag before dropping him off at her parents' apartment. Her mother's comforting smile and her father's reassuring hugs were a source of strength, but Maya hated leaving Liam behind so often. As she commuted to work on the crowded bus, she reminded herself that this was all for him, for the warm meals on their table, for the small savings she was starting to build, and for the future she dreamed of giving him. At the catering company, Maya poured her heart into her tasks. She scrubbed kitchens until they sparkled, prepped ingredients with precision, and handled deliveries with care. Her coworkers quickly noticed her dedication. Maya never complained, even when her hands ached or when she had to stay late to clean up after a big event. She pushed through the fatigue, thinking of Liam's smile as her reward. But the nights were the hardest. After long shifts, Maya would return to her parents' home to pick up Liam. Often he'd already be asleep in his grandmother's arms, his chubby hands clutching a soft blanket. Maya would scoop him up, thanking her parents quietly before heading home. Once she settled Liam in his crib, she'd spend the few remaining hours of the night tidying up their apartment or ironing her uniform for the next day. Despite her grueling schedule, Maya refused to let her exhaustion dim her determination. On weekends, she spent every moment she could with Liam, taking him to the park or reading him stories. She wanted him to feel her love, even if her time with him felt too fleeting during the week. One evening, after an especially demanding shift, Maya found herself staring at a small notice pinned to the break room bulletin board. It was an announcement for a local small business workshop. The session promised to teach budgeting, client management, and tips for starting your own venture. Maya's curiosity was piqued. Though she had never thought of herself as an entrepreneur, she realized that her meticulous work at the catering company, organizing supplies, handling scheduling, and ensuring every task was done efficiently, had given her a set of skills she hadn't fully appreciated before. The idea of starting something of her own seemed both thrilling and terrifying. The next day, Maya signed up for the workshop. She spent her only day off that week in a crowded community center, taking notes furiously as the instructor explained how to identify a market need and create a basic business plan. By the end of the session, her mind was buzzing with possibilities. She thought about her experiences at the catering company and realized there was a demand for quality cleaning services in their area. If she could combine her work ethic with her new knowledge, maybe she could build something better for herself and Liam. In the months that followed, Maya continued working at the catering company while laying the groundwork for her business. She stayed up late researching permits, creating flyers and brainstorming names for her company. Her parents, ever supportive, offered to watch Liam even more so she could focus on her dream. "Are you sure you're not overworking yourself, sweetheart?" her mother asked one evening, watching Maya furiously type out a sample cleaning schedule. "I'm tired, Mom," Maya admitted, glancing at Liam playing on the floor. "But this is for him. I want to give him more than just enough. I want him to have everything he deserves." Her mother smiled, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You've always been determined, Maya. I know you'll make it happen." And Maya did. After 6 months of planning and saving every extra dollar, she launched her cleaning company. She started small, taking on just a handful of clients. With her parents' help watching Liam during the day, Maya was able to focus on growing her business. Her first clients were impressed by her attention to detail and professionalism, and word quickly spread. By the end of her first year, Maya had hired 2 part-time employees to help with the growing demand. She worked tirelessly to ensure her clients were satisfied, often taking on extra shifts herself to cover last-minute jobs. She faced setbacks, too late payments, equipment malfunctions, and days when she felt so drained she wasn't sure she could continue. But every time she doubted herself, she thought of Liam and the life she was building for him. Her sacrifices began to pay off. The small cleaning company flourished, and with it, Maya's confidence grew. She moved out of her cramped apartment into a modest but cozy 2-bedroom home. For the first time in years, she felt like she could breathe a little easier. One evening, as she tucked Liam into bed, she thought about how far they had come. Her mind drifted to Nurse Evelyn, the woman whose small act of kindness had been the spark that ignited this journey. Without the formula Evelyn had provided, Maya wasn't sure where she and Liam would be today. She knew it was time to reconnect. Evelyn deserved to know what her kindness had inspired. The thought filled Maya with excitement and a sense of purpose. The next morning, after dropping Liam off at preschool, Maya walked into the hospital for the first time in years. The sight of the cheerful pediatric ward murals brought back a flood of memories. Nervously, she approached the receptionist. "Hi," Maya said. "I was wondering if Nurse Evelyn still works here." The receptionist smiled. "Yes, she does. Let me check if she's available." As Maya waited, her hands fidgeted with the strap of her purse. Moments later, Evelyn appeared at the end of the hallway, her familiar kind eyes lighting up when she saw Maya. "Maya," Evelyn said, her voice filled with pleasant surprise. "I almost didn't believe it when they said someone was here asking for me." Maya stepped forward, her smile wide. "It's me. And I've been waiting a long time to come back and thank you." Evelyn's face softened with warmth. "Thank me? For what?" "For everything," Maya said. "Because of you, I've been able to build a new life for Liam and me. And I wanted you to know that your kindness made all the difference." Evelyn gestured to a quiet corner where they could sit and talk. Maya began to tell her story, how hard she had worked, how much she had overcome, and how Evelyn's simple gesture had been the light that guided her through her darkest days. As she spoke, Evelyn's eyes filled with emotion. "Maya, I'm so proud of you. But you should know you were the one who made this happen. I just gave you a little push." Maya smiled, tears forming in her own eyes. "That little push changed everything for me. And I'll never forget it." Though the conversation ended, Maya knew her journey was far from over. She left the hospital that day with a heart full of gratitude, ready to keep working and giving back just as Evelyn had done for her. Maya walked out of the hospital feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude and clarity. Reuniting with Nurse Evelyn had been an emotional reminder of how far she had come. The conversation reignited a promise Maya had made to herself years ago to pay forward the kindness she had received. Her cleaning business continued to grow, and Maya poured her heart into ensuring it thrived, not just for herself but for her employees and clients. By the time Liam turned 3, she had hired 5 workers, 3 of whom were single mothers like she had once been. Maya knew the struggles they faced, how difficult it was to find jobs that offered flexibility, understanding, and a living wage. At her company, Maya implemented policies that prioritized the well-being of her employees. Flexible shifts allowed them to balance work and family life, and Maya offered childcare stipends to help lighten their financial burdens. It wasn't just about running a successful business, it was about building a community of support for those who needed it most. One day, during a meeting with her staff, one of the women, a young mother named Carla, approached Maya after everyone else had left. "I just wanted to say thank you," Carla said, her voice shaking slightly. "Before this job, I didn't know how I was going to make things work for my son and me. But now, I finally feel like I have hope again." Maya smiled, her heart swelling with emotion. "You don't have to thank me, Carla. I've been in your shoes. I know how hard it is. If I can make it even a little easier for you, then that's enough for me." Carla nodded, tears in her eyes. "It's more than a little easier. It's life-changing." The exchange stayed with Maya, sparking an idea she couldn't shake. Her business was doing well, and she had built a stable life for herself and Liam. But what if she could do even more? That night, as Liam played with his building blocks on the living room floor, Maya began jotting down notes. She envisioned creating a fund to help single mothers in need, something similar to what Nurse Evelyn had done for her, but on a larger scale. The fund could provide essentials like formula, diapers, and temporary financial assistance, as well as mentorship programs to help women find jobs and build confidence. Maya couldn't do it all alone, but she knew her network of clients and community partners could help bring the idea to life. She spent weeks drafting a proposal, sharing her vision with colleagues, friends, and even clients who had seen the passion and dedication she poured into her work. Slowly but surely, donations started to trickle in. The fund launched quietly at first, helping just a handful of mothers in the community. Maya was careful to stay involved, meeting with the recipients whenever she could. Each time she saw a mother's tears of relief or a child's smile of joy, she was reminded of the day she sat in that hospital room with Nurse Evelyn, holding a can of formula that had meant the world to her. Months later, Maya received a call from the hospital. The administrator had heard about her fund and invited her to speak at a staff meeting to share her story and how the hospital could help support her efforts. When Maya walked into the familiar pediatric ward, memories of those difficult days came flooding back. She looked around, noticing Evelyn standing near the back of the room, her familiar warm smile lighting up her face. After Maya's presentation, the staff gave her a standing ovation. Many of the nurses approached her afterward, sharing how inspired they were by her journey and asking how they could contribute. "I'm so proud of you," Evelyn said as she hugged Maya. "You've taken what was once a struggle and turned it into something beautiful. I knew you'd do great things." "It's all because of you," Evelyn, Maya said, her voice trembling with emotion. "You showed me kindness when I needed it the most. This fund, this work, it's my way of honoring that." Evelyn smiled, her eyes glistening. "You honored it by being the incredible person you already were. I just helped you see it." The partnership between Maya's fund and the hospital flourished. Nurses like Evelyn were able to refer struggling mothers to Maya's program, ensuring they had access to the support they needed. Each success story felt like a victory, not just for Maya, but for the entire community. Through it all, Maya continued to work tirelessly, often balancing late nights managing her business with early mornings running the fund. There were moments of exhaustion, but she refused to let them deter her. Liam was her motivation, and she wanted to show him that even the smallest act of kindness could ripple outward in ways they could never imagine. One evening, as she tucked Liam into bed, he looked up at her with wide, curious eyes. "Mommy, why do you work so much?" he asked. Maya paused, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "Because I want to help people, sweetheart. Remember how Grandma and Grandpa helped us when you were little? And how Nurse Evelyn helped us too. Now it's our turn to help others." Liam nodded thoughtfully. "When I grow up, I want to help people too." Maya's chest tightened with emotion. "You will, Liam. I know you will." As she watched him drift off to sleep, Maya felt an overwhelming sense of purpose. Her journey had been difficult, but every step had brought her closer to where she was meant to be. Evelyn's kindness had planted a seed, and now Maya was nurturing it, letting it grow into something that would change countless lives. And she knew her story wasn't finished yet. There was still so much more to give, so much more to build. For Liam. For the mothers like her. For the world she wanted to leave better than she had found it.